Okay, well, starting over. Got interrupted last time. I don't really want to edit, and I guess I could have done a better job being a little clearer. So first thing I want to touch on is you tell your buddy here to swap to soldier because you're running triple tank. Um, if he's really comfortable on Genji, just let him play Genji. It's not the worst thing ever. Nano Genji is really good. If he's a good Genji, if he's not comfortable on soldier, but if you know he's comfortable on soldier, that's fine. Um, Another thing about triple tank, which you probably have no control over, is the big two tanks you need are Ryan and Diva, and then there's a flex spot which is Hog or Zarya, or yeah, it's Hog or Zarya, but you really want the Hog. You usually don't want the Zarya. So Hog Zarya generally just is a very good combination, but um, yeah, there's nothing you can do about your team's composition. You can maybe ask Hog is already to swap Diva. Diva's stupid right now. She's simple, very easy to play, and extremely overpowered. Let's just hop into the game. You take a little while getting into team chat, but it's just a really simple mistake. Not a big deal at all. I like how you tell your Ryan to wait for you right here. I think that's really good. Now, this sleep dart, I really like it, because if you hit it, it's a pick, and you guys are at a 5v6 now, or a 6v5 really, and you most likely win the team fight if you go in hard. You miss the sleep dart, that's fine, it happens. It's kind of a YOLO sleep dart. Now, you grenade him, and I disagree with that completely, because what's going to happen is he's just going to go towards 250 under bus or close to bus, and he's just going to be healed back up and come back to harass you, and now your grenade's just on a 10-second cooldown. Or you might need it to get a large debuff over here if you guys push through, or to save your Ryan. Another thing is your positioning right here is really bad. You can actually see that Hog is, I think, really low. Or maybe that's your Ryan, I don't know, dude. But you really should be closer to door to spam shots in. And because of your positioning, you're looking back and forth. If you were in door, you wouldn't really have to worry about that. If Genji harasses you, or if Genji's on you, you know, because you're taking damage. Now, what could happen with that? Like, Genji's getting free shots in here. What could happen with that is you just throw grenade, and then he's forced to leave. Or he gets picked, or you can try to sleep dart him again, whatever. Now, I like how you communicate to your Ryan that he's walled, but then he decides to charge into 6 people, 5 people, and gets killed. Nothing you can do about that. I think right here, I think you should communicate to your team that you guys need to back out because you lost your Ryan. And they push their advantage really hard. Another thing about positioning, okay, let's go back a little bit. Yeah, so you're so far forward here trying to save Ryan. As soon as you saw Ryan charge, I guess you knew he was dead. Or even that he was walled, that he was probably dead. You can just sit around waiting for a grenade, but you should still back up. Zarya was, I think, is a half right here, or very low actually, and I think she was completely savable before. If not savable, then it's at least a free ult for you, or really close to it. Well, you ended up tunneling Genji, and you were tunneling the Ryan because he got walled. So they push their advantage really hard. They blow 2 ults. It's really good for you guys. And then you guys are pushing main, which I don't really like against high ground. I think you guys can either push around, or you can push under. Under where 250 is, right here. So that's something that you should be communicating to your team, telling them how you're going to push, or how you want to push. Sometimes they're not going to listen. That's just how it is. You don't have any control over it. Now, your positioning, let's see. Yeah, your positioning right here. I think it was okay before. Your line of sighting the high ground. But now that your team is split from you, I think the correct decision is to come into this room here and use pillars as line of sight. Because what can happen is they drop down, they split, whoever the hell's over here, I guess it's Hog.
Genji's running away.
Yeah, So if you were in pillars, you could get some shots off on Hog,
I'm leaving. I used it. Nice shot.
or in this little room.
Back on point.
Is that? So what I see happening here is everyone is just following their own game plan. Unfortunately, your Zarya is forced to go Lucio because this guy just decides he doesn't want a Mercy anymore. You're really confused as to where to push, and your Tracer's just going to do her own thing. And you see everybody, Lucio, Hog, and Ryan going top, but you decide to go main with Soldier.
Easy boost.
Actually, because they're on high ground, or if you knew they were on low ground, I don't know if you saw it before, you could have pushed upper with Soldier and boosted him up there, and you have the advantage. Now, when you boost Soldier in this meta, or into Ryan D.Va, I should say, one of two conditions need to be met, at least. One, D.Va's at a mech, or two, shield is broken. Now, they're also running a Zen, so you have to be expecting the trans when you nano soldier. It's going to happen every time, unless you somehow force it before. Your soldier gets a pick, Hog gets pick, whatever. It's not going to happen if the Zen's positioning himself well. If you were high ground, you have a much better chance of getting a big debuff off. Now, here, positioning wise, if you were more right towards 250, you might have been able to get some shots off on Hog. Although I think the better play was just to go upper. This fight is really chaotic. I like how you save your nano here and you don't use it. You don't commit to it after you guys start losing the team fight.
My E was on cooldown.
So you're Ryan doing his own thing again. Charges for literally no reason, but you managed to save him with a really nice grenade. I like that. Now, this nano is, I think, really bad. So, if we back up a little bit here, even more. He's in no position to frag out. Like, all I see is D.Va and maybe their Ryan. I don't know. There's maybe some people behind cart, but he's not going to be fast enough. They're just going to outrun him. And he actually just gets focused. Now, you slept that Ryan, I'm pretty sure. You did, and then he decides to wake him up. It could have been mid-swing, but I think he does this like a million times. So I think it's really important to call out that someone slept. Like, hey, Ryan is sleeping. Don't wake him up. They're gonna wake him up 90% of the time, but it's still worth calling him out because that 10% of the time is really good. Now, positioning here again, you were really close to that bomb, and like, so this play right here of you trying to save Soldier with grenade. Or I don't know, debuffing Ryan. I don't know what you were going for exactly. This is really ballsy. And it's better to just let this dude die than to risk your life, because this is your last push. And you're just really lucky that they didn't kill you, I think. Like, you had this line of sight really easy for that. So this team fight's really chaotic. I think you could have used Nade to save Monkey earlier. Don't be afraid to use it.
Feel the sauna?
Now, since you don't have ult, I would position myself a little further back and try to get line of sight of this, but still being close to point, so you can maybe get a poke or two in. It's not that big of a deal. You get ult to Xana really fast anyway.
One more card.
So that sleep was really bad, but that nade was really good. Like, there's no reason to go for a sleep on someone who's already getting charged. He's gonna die as long as you just nade him. I don't know about your monkey's ult, but you have no control over that.
D.Va's almost out of the deck.
Now, right here
Like
you're
52.
going up to save monkey, which is fine because you guys just won the team fight. You guys got a bunch of picks, but normally you want to be behind your entire team instead of with them. It's like that. This is good positioning right here. I like how you call out boost for, or that you have boost and you want to boost soldier.
Let's back it up.
It's good. And I like how you call it that you guys should back it up so you're losing the team fight. So you aren't feeding. So something you can call for here, you have boost, you have nano, you know they have trans, for sure. Because he has, or they probably have trans. They did use it
D.L boost you.
like at like a minute 30 or something left on first push. Your soldier can come top ground or high ground and you can go with him because they probably have Zenalt, or you can stay low ground if you don't think they have a Zenalt. I'd go into apartments right here. There's a staircase in the back for soldier, and you can ult him up here, so he's in a much better position to frag out up top, or pick someone that's not in the Zenalt, something like that. It happens pretty often. But on low ground against Ryan D.Va, you're not going to get a grenade off. And regardless of if they have Zenalt or not, with Anna's healing, you're not going to, your soldier's going to get less value out of his ult. So you call for sound barrier here. I don't like that at all. I don't think there's any reason for a sound barrier. You guys just get counter ulted really hard. I don't think your Ryan needed to charge either. Like, the biggest mistake is soldier not getting high ground and you not being in a position to, like, it's fine if Zen blows ult on soldier nano. It's gonna happen. But you guys could have been in a position where you got at least 1 or 2 picks from it, and then it's completely worth it.
Maybe. Okay, Ryan, you're too far ahead. 1 second. Who's behind? Is that straight behind us? Who's shooting?
Now, that's a really nice sleep, but it's probably unavoidable that Lucio or Ryan woke him up. The wrong play from you is coming in and chasing this Ryan with your Ryan. Like, you can just, if you really want, maybe you could nade your Ryan and then back up towards cart. You guys probably lost anyway because of the D.Va bomb, but I think this car would have line of sighted it. I know it's easy to see in hindsight, but like, chasing after a nanoed Ryan in overtime doesn't really make any sense. I don't mean that to sound dicky. So defense, you set up high ground. A lot of Annas like this position. I'm not really a fan of it that much. You really, with this positioning, you really need to know when you need to drop down and where you're going to go. So you have a few like escape routes. You can go the tunnels behind you, or the little the tunnel that connects these two things, horseshoe, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Yeah. And I like how you can make it, I think, to your team when this game starts, when they start pushing a little too far forward, that, hey, I'm back here, dude. Like, I can't see you. That's good.
I'm on the other side, so I can't see it down.
I don't like Soldier's positioning, really. I think you can tell, since he's in your group, you can tell him to be next to you or be over there with them.
Ryan's dead. My mouse didn't go up.
So, let's back it up a little bit. So, actually, even more than that. So they push really hard, and your Ryan gets booped off. Everyone drops down. I think the correct play here is to drop down and follow your Ryan instead of staying high ground.
I'm dropping. Genji's on me. Genji's on me. Genji's on me. Genji's on me.
Another thing on that sleep on Genji, maybe you could have waited a little bit. It's definitely worth it to go for the sleep. You missed, whatever. It wasn't Genji who killed you. I think Zen did most of the damage. So it just feels bad. So they kept point really quick. Now, you know they have point here. There's no way you guys are going to save it. There's no way you guys are going to contest. So what you're really looking to do, I think, here is, one, you need to stay alive. So you guys can position over by bus, but your Zarya and all these other people are pushing forward. You guys are going to get really staggered. Your positioning here is really bad. Like, you can be line of sighting this or using this as line of sight and getting a few pokes in, and then also for alt charge, Zarya is the priority and to keep her up so she doesn't die, so you aren't too staggered. And you guys back up the bus, but your Lucio got picked. I think when the point's lost like that, you need to communicate at these lower elos that, hey, it's lost, like, don't contest. Especially to Lucio Soldier. I don't know who was out there. I don't know if they would have been able to get out, but it's still worth saying. That's a really nice sleep, and that's a really nice nade.
And what's that boost?
So your positioning was good there for a little while, right before the Ryan charged back. So your whole team was in front of you. They're holding a little far up, maybe. It doesn't really matter. Now, everyone backs out. And you're still kind of in the front lines. And you're with your team, you should really be behind them. Yeah, so this is a little better.
Get Genji down. He's gonna have ult soon if we don't. Zen went up. Went up. I have boost when I get back. Back it up, Ryan, back it up.
When you tell your Ryan to back it up, he really likes to charge backwards completely out of it. So I don't know how many are debuff there, but you guys blow your entire loads for this.
Ryan sleeping on point.
Your soldier ends up getting 3 picks because I guess the trans came from within the grav. I don't think you guys even like would have needed Nano Soldier if you could have communicated with your Zarya and said, hey, like, just wait to grav, but they were all pushing, so whatever. Again, you can't control your teammates, but you can try to communicate with them and get better value out of them. Now, positioning here, you don't want to be this far up. You really want to be probably back here by this car, using this as line of sight. So you still have vision of all your teammates. You could have also gotten high ground, gone through apartments, or I don't know. This is apartments, so I don't know what the other one is. So again, with your positioning, if you were right here, I think you're in a much better spot to save this guy. Not maybe save him, but keep him alive for a little bit longer. Looks like your buddy actually kills him right after. So the nade really would have helped. Like, you're completely in the battle, and you really shouldn't be. Like, you're having to look all around, turn your mouse. That really shouldn't be happening, I think, Azana. So yeah, you really need to be backed up here. And you were backing up, and then you go in front of all your teammates to try to save your Ryan, I guess, because you see him dive. No, your Ryan never blocks center shatter this game.
I couldn't find him.
But I guess, I don't know if that, yeah. No. So this is really, see, this is where you should be, right here. You have nice line of sight. You can peek around that corner. You saw when you were walking back, you saw that soldier was yellow, but he ended up healing himself, or Lucio healed him, so it's fine. Now, Ryan's walled, you saw that he got charged from the wall, and he's probably gonna die, but Zarya could use some health, and you could farm some ult off her. She's pretty low. Zarya again half. Your soldier fell down. I don't know. He was really out of position there. Could have just stayed high ground. Maybe he was trying to save Ryan. So the biggest thing I've noticed is that you tunnel really hard with your scope. Now, as Anna, you should be quick scoping. I'll hop in game and show what I mean by that in a second, if you know what that is. If you don't know what that is, you really want to use your unscoped shots a little bit more on the fat targets on your teammates, and then scoped for like long range when it's kind of sketchy. I scope a lot too, but I don't stay scoped for extended periods of time. I always unscope to look around my surroundings. Another thing is that your positioning, you're generally positioned between your teammates because I think you're afraid of flankers. And I don't know if I talked about the Genji versus Ana or Tracer versus Ana matchup, but the Ana is heavily favored because you have the pressure of hitting Sleep Dart, the grenade, and then tapping them twice, killing them. Or like if you can't get the kill, then you can at least force them to run away, like, at least 60-70% of the time. It's not your DPS's responsibility to peel the flanker off you. It's mostly a positioning thing. Like you can position yourself around a mini or a 250 and having grenade up or sleep and all that. Now, another thing, this red crosshair, I don't know if it's just the video quality, but it's really hard to see, and their whole team's red too, right? Or their Ryan shield is red anyway, so it seems like that would be kind of hard to see. I don't know, if you really like red, like whatever, but I wouldn't recommend it. Your Ryan was something else this game. Now, like, you don't have control over your teammates, and I like to think that there are completely unwinnable games no matter what you do. You can give your team a better shot, and you can always take something away from your games and all that, but I don't know if this was one of them. You really got zero value from your nanos, except for that one nano that came from over here, which kind of looked really sketchy to me because it looked like it was in the middle of trans, and you had only debuffed like one person. You guys made it work. So yeah, again, if you're gonna nano soldier, you want Diva out of mech, you want Ryan shield down, something like that. Trans is probably gonna be popped. You can't really help that unless you're in a really good position to frag out or to grenade rather. Zarya can also force a trans with Graviton, and you need try to communicate with Zarya so that you have grenade up at the same time as Graviton is. And a tip about grenading or Gravitons: try to wait and look for an opportunity to grenade it instead of just throwing a grenade into the Rhine shield. I mean, you weren't in the fight, I think, for the Graviton, so it's not your fault. I didn't see anything like that, but just, yeah, simple tip. I think your mechanics really need work, and it's just something that's going to come with time. But I'll hop in the game really quick and show you what I mean by quick scoping as Ana or movement. You also have the inferior Ana skin, not the good one. So if you jump while you scope, then you don't lose momentum, but if you scope and move around, then you're a lot slower, right? So, like, I noticed that you're just more comfortable hitting your shots when you're scoped, which is completely reasonable because like the darts are stupidly hard to hit for some reason. Like the travel time is just weird. But I would just recommend scoping, and it also has like the hardest hitbox to hit in the game, the sketchiest hitbox to hit. So that's quick scoping. You just jump and scope at the same time, and then unscope after the shot. But I'd say focus on hitting unscope shots and positioning, and then alt usage. Now, I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to say that your mechanics are terrible. They're not. Just that I don't even know what I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say now. So, focus on positioning is really big. You want to be behind your team, around some line of sight, where you can still see your team, but you can still run away. Like, most of the time, you should never be getting picked. Because, again, like, Anna getting picked just means you lose the... Your team's all going to die. Because they don't have... Lucio's not going to solo heal. Zen's not going to solo heal. Most of the time. 90% of the time. Alt value. Getting value from your alt. That's really important. And then I think communication with your team, like where you're gonna push. Another thing is you should always call out when someone's hurt, lit, whatever. Like there's a Ryan, I think that was one shot. There was no way anyone was gonna pick him, but it's nice to call it out. Like I don't know if you guys still had a tracer then, or he went monkey or what. I don't know, dude. But yeah, I think mostly it's positioning. Like I feel like a lot of the time you're kind of scrambling to find where to look because of your bad positioning, and you'd have an easier time aiming and
You're walled.
I guess not having that problem with better positioning, having everyone in your line of sight. And it's not always going to happen. Again, it's
Yeah, this
like
strategy is just get farming all top of us.
you know, you don't have control over what your teammates do, just to the extent that you can communicate with them. But yeah, that's it, buddy.